Hello YouTube, it's Engineer Pat 5290 coming to you with the Q&A responses for this Q&A series. I have to say I received a lot of good questions from you all, and let's go ahead and get into some questions. So, the first subscriber that has commented is Conrail722 ST80 Mac. He has a list of 6 questions. His first question is, which locomotive could haul more cars, UP DD40, DDA40X, or the big boy? Well, I have to say, in my opinion, the big boy was very powerful. It was the largest steam locomotive ever built, and that train could pull a train 5 miles long. The DDA40X is the largest diesel ever produced, and I think it could pull about 3 to 4 miles in length. So, I would say the big boy would win there. His next question, are you ready to see the new SD70 ACCs? Kinda, not really particular about those. It's just something that'll have to grow on me for that one, but I think they'll look okay after I see a few of them. What's your favorite high hood? By the way, from what I'm understanding, is a running high hood SD40-2. That is correct. NS still has a few SD40-2 high hoods. They're actually the ex-Norfolk and Westerns. There's a couple of them floating around, but I don't know where. But out of the high hoods, it has to be the SD40-2. I've always liked that one. The SD45 was a good one, and the GP38-2. They're my 3 favorites. They also had high hood Jeep 30s, which my favorite is the Southern 2601. They've also did high hood GP35s and GP40s. So they did a lot of high hood variants, especially with EMDs. And let's see, GE did theirs with their U36. I think they bought like U30Bs. I think that because Southern bought some, and so did the NW. And the NW had the standard cab C30-7s with theirs, and they did not receive the high hood cab. But GE actually a pretty decent wide cab, but the EMD nails the high hood by a long shot. Next one is, how would you react if you saw a double heritage, for example, 1068 and 1074? Oh, buddy, I would be absolutely freaked. I would go nuts over that, because that's the Erie and the Lackawanna. They merged to create the Erie Lackawanna. So I think that would be a really cool catch. Are you planning to railfan in other states? Haven't decided yet on that one. I may consider that for another future trip. And his last question, what's your favorite CSX scheme, YN3 or YN2? Has to be the YN2. With all the other schemes out there, it has to be the YN2. From Standard Gauge Railroad, I get a list of 3 questions from him. What's the difference between the -2 and the -3 specs? According to my understanding, the computer system was upgraded. It's a little bit more high-tech, and also, especially with the SD40-3s on CSX and the GP38, GP40-3s, they have got an upgrade in horsepower. I think it's now 4,000 horsepower for those EMDs. So not only they get an inside upgrade, well, also with the cab upgrade, they're getting a prime mover upgrade in horsepower. So it's a little bit of upgrade in horsepower and the updates in the computer system and the electrical system. Favorite steam locomotive and type, I will have to say it has to be the Norfolk and Western J611. With all the other steam engines out there, it has to be the 611, because I love the Norfolk and Western. Another favorite of mine, I'll go ahead and add a little bit to this. I love the NW top 3. It's the 611, the 1218, which is a Y6A, I believe. Well, that's an A class, and the Y6A is the 2156. I may have those backwards, but those 3 are my favorites of the NW. One of my next favorites is the Union Pacific Big Boy. How much could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Love the joke, man. Thank you very much. The next YouTuber is Eastern Coast Productions, excuse me. He has 4 questions. First question, which NS rebuild do you prefer? The SD70 AC or the AC44 C6M? I like both of them, but out of the 2, I would definitely prefer the ACU. Favorite NS Heritage unit? Oh, buddy, that's a tough one. I've always liked all 20, but I gotta say, I just like them all. I really don't have a favorite. I just like them all. Which do you like better, NS Horsehead or the White Stripe? I would definitely prefer the Horsehead because it's a little bit more realistic, because you see the thoroughbred is running beside the locomotive, like it's running through the scheme, but you're thinking that horses run side by side with the train, which I think is a really cool scheme that NS came out with in 2004, late 2004, early 2005. And which is your favorite locomotive on the NS roster? Gotta say, I like a little bit of everything, but mostly the EMDs. Mostly all the older EMDs, SD40-2, SW1000, SW1001s, GP38-2 standard and high hood cab, SD45-2s, I know there's 6 of those on the roster, and pretty much all the EMDs. And the next one is Hunter Evans, another subscriber that has buzzed in. What's your favorite GE 4-axle locomotive? That's a tough one. Has to be the B40-8 standard cab. Those were cool. And my early GE has to be the U36B. I liked the Seaboard Coastline Bicentennial paint. What was the longest train you've counted while railfanning? It's been back a few years. Close to 200 cars. I don't remember the exact count, but I do remember it was close to 200 cars. Name your favorite Class 1 railroad and why? Has to be Norfolk Southern, because Norfolk Southern's got a good reputation. I know a lot of people there, and everyone that I've met have been very, very nice to me, very, very friendly, and I've always liked NS. And NS runs the quote-unquote good power. A little bit of GE, a little bit of EMD. Then this next one is take username. 2 questions. Do you prefer EMD or GE? Has to be EMD. And what railroad that is no longer active has your favorite liveries, like, let me read, New York Central or Conrail? I have lots of favorite fallen flags. One of them is the Santa Fe, because of the red and silver war bonnet paint scheme. My next favorite, Seaboard Airline. Seaboard Airline. I know Seaboard Airline Productions would like that one. One of my favorites is Seaboard Airline because that actually ran through my hometown at one time. So, always love the Seaboard Airline. Another couple of favorites I've had. Let me think on that one. The Western Maryland was good. I've always liked the Western Maryland. And I always liked the New York Central because of their J1E Hudson. That's one of the reasons I like the New York Central. And I liked Conrail because of the blue paint scheme. I always loved Conrail for that, and the RS3L. Stephen Huang 05 comments next with a question. What are your thoughts on CSX retiring some of their locomotives? The ones were sold to GECX, PRLX, and LTEX. I'm a little sad at that. I never like to see the good power being sold off. But with the X-Conrail-8Ws, they had a lot of mechanical issues, and they were put in long-term storage by CSX because of that reason. So that's why they were put in storage, but for everything else, I really don't understand why. I think it's, it's what can you do? I just don't like the good power being sold off. Bishop Smith comments next. What's your favorite train company and favorite train model? Once again, Norfolk Southern. Favorite model, a little bit of everything on that, but if it has to be a favorite locomotive, has to be the SD40-2. Legendary locomotive by EMD. That was their best-selling locomotive with let me see how many, to really go into a little bit of research. Let's see how many locomotives. For the SD40-2, total produced was 3,982 units, and that was produced from, hold on one second. The building day was from January of 1972, and the production ended October of 1989. So, 17 years in the production. The longest running EMD production and EMD's best seller. everybody had those locomotives. Norfolk and Western, the Southern, Penn Central didn't get those, but Conrail, Pennsylvania has some of the straight 40s. The Santa Fe, Burlington Northern, Wisconsin Central, Grand Trunk Western, just to name a few. But I will say that was EMD's best sellers. The next one, the final questions come in from Bessemer Lake Erie 902. His questions are: what is your favorite CSX rebuild, and what states have you railfanned in? First of all, with CSX rebuilds, I like only a couple of those. They're not as attractive as the NS, but for a favorite CSX rebuild that's been completely rebuilt, the SD40-3Es, the 1700 series, those are really, really cool. I just love the cab and the flared radiators on the back of it. Basically, that is their own version of an SD33 Eco that CP rebuilt. It's basically a CP SD33 Eco with CSX YN3B on it. It's basically the same thing. It's a really sweet rebuild. Plus, they've upgraded like some of their SD50s to SD50-3s. They just did a computer system upgrade to those. They just kept the same EMD cab. Basically, they just rebuilt on the inside. The -8WMs or CM40-8Ws, they were rebuilt on the inside and just kept the same cab. Basically, they just got a 2017 upgrade to a -8W. And that's all that was. SD40-3s, the GP38, GP40-3s, don't really care for those as much, but it's just the cab to me doesn't look right, but that's just my opinion. But I have gotten used to them, but the SD40-3E is a cool rebuild. I've always liked those. And what states have you railfanned in? Well, that's another good question. I have railfanned in Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and I'm thinking where else I have done it. And I think that's pretty much. I've done a little bit in Baltimore, but just for the museum. I've done Cumberland, Maryland a little bit. I mean, there are a couple cities in Maryland that I've done. So it's been Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and I think that's pretty much it. But when I was in Texas a few years ago, I did see some trains as we were passing on the road. I took a Boy Scout camping trip, Boy Scout cross country trip, and I was able to see a little bit of that, but didn't take any footage of that, so I do apologize. But I've seen a touch of it over there, but not like some of you people have seen it. But mostly it's just been the ones that have been Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. They're the four that I have really dug deep in railfanning. So I think that answers that question for you. So that's all the questions for this Q&A. I want to thank everybody for participating in that. Another will be posted. I mean, I'll have another one here very, very soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed the responses to that. I actually had some fun with this one and the previous one. I always have fun with this. I love hearing what you guys like to ask. But if there's a question that somehow you forgot to post, whatever, it's okay. I will have another prompt very, very soon. I will be posting a heads-up video on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And just remember, if you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you like the video or any of the videos I have posted, please remember to give them a thumbs up. If you would also like to know when I post brand new videos, please hit the notification bell, and you will receive a notification from YouTube when I post a new video, and that notification will send you to that brand new video. So once again, my previous video, I do apologize for the delay on some of this stuff. Hurricane Florence has been impacting little parts of Virginia, but mostly the Carolinas. So the weather has not been very cooperative, so I do apologize in advance for that. But I will be getting back on the rails very, very soon with new videos and making some changes to the channel, I mean, as far as videos go. So thank you guys for watching the Q&A response video. I'm Engineer Pat, and I will see you on the next rail adventure. Peace out, guys.